Hello guys, in this video we'll learn how to connect and interact with Dynamo DB, a very powerful AWS database using Rust. Now we can either connect using our cloud credentials if we have our cloud account set up, or we can simply spin up the Docker instance and work with it. Now while watching this video, you might not have your cloud account set up, but we all have Docker for free. So I will spin up the Docker instance, but regardless if you are using your cloud account or the Docker instance, everything remains the same. Just a bit of changes in the configuration which I'll point out, but other than that everything remains the same. So let's get started. First of all, we'll move to our cargo toml file and add a few dependencies. So first one we need is restore Dynamo DB with latest version. Then we need is restore core with latest version, and then we need Tokyo with version as latest and features as full, and then we'll build our project. Once your dependencies are added, move to the project explorer and add a dbstore.rs where we'll add all the interaction with our Dynamo DB. So let's get started. So first of all, we'll add a pub struct dbstore with client as Dynamo DB client, and then we'll use impl dbstore pub new and this returns a dbstore. So what we can do is pass region to it, and we can simply do is client dbstore and client Dynamo DB client and new, and here we pass our region. And then we'll add a few operations that we want to perform. Let's say first of all I want to create the table, so we'll say create table and self input create table input, and we want to return the output as create table output. Self.client.create table, and we pass our input await.unwrap. Similarly, we have pub async fn and put, where we store our new data. So we'll say input and put item input. Similarly, put item output. And then we'll just say self.client.put item, pass our input, and await.unwrap. Similarly, after put, we'll add get by id, so pub async fn get by id and self, and here we'll again pass input get item input, and in return we'll return get item output. Again self dot client dot get item input and await unwrap. Similarly, we move ahead with pub async fn update item, so self input update item input and update item output. So we'll just say self dot client dot update item, pass our input, and do await dot unwrap. And lastly, we'll do delete to complete all of the CRUD operations. So self and input and delete item input, and then here we'll just do delete item output. So we'll just say self dot client dot delete item input await dot unwrap. So we have delete, we have update, we have get, we have put to create a new record, and then we have create table to basically go ahead and create our table, and this is just to create a new client. Now let's go ahead and use it in our main and basically perform all of the CRUD operations. So in our main, first of all, we'll just say Tokyo main async, and so first of all we'll just create a client, but first of all let's give a region. So we can say region Now you can use built-in regions like, let's say, US East, or even, let's say, AP Northeast, and all other regions wherever your cloud instance is. But if you want to connect to local, then you can say region custom, and here you can give the name as region US East 1 dot name dot toString, and endpoint is HTTP localhost port 8000 and to on. So that's literally all that we need to pass to add a region. And then we'll just say let client is equals to db store new and pass our region. So this will give us a new client, and now let's use it. First of all, we'll just create a table. So we'll say let input create table input, and if we see all the fields, then there are so many fields, but we don't need to fill all of them. We just need to provide a few fields. So let me just quickly add them. So there you can see we have our create table input, and the attributes definition, you only have to provide your IDs, like no other columns. Like, let's say we are creating a schema for products, a table for products, we don't have to provide all the columns, we just have to provide the ID, and same you have to do in the key schema element. And here you can place let's say currently my billing mode on localhost doesn't matter, but you can place your billing mode and any other operations that you want to do. And table name is product. So this is literally all we need to fill, and then we can just say println client dot create table, and we pass our input, and then we await table description. And let's go ahead and run this and see. First of all, our table is created, but even before, let's go to our terminal and first of all spin up our Docker instance. So we can just use this docker run and port binding port 8000 and Amazon Dynamo DB local, and then we press enter. Then we can wait for a few seconds. Okay, it should be ready. So we'll just do cargo run quite. Okay, so as you can see, our table has been created, and now we'll go ahead and add an item in our table. So let's keep our Docker instance running. So now we can just remove all of the things that we have added for creating the table, and what we'll do is let mutable map hash map new, and we'll just say map dot insert, and here we have to say string from, let's say first column is ID, and then we'll say attribute value. So here we have to provide the attribute value. These are all the types that we have different, but we are currently dealing with n, and we'll just say some string and from 1, and everything else as default dot default. So this is our basically first insert, and similarly we'll insert a name. So here now we'll use a string, and let's say the name is Nike 101. Similarly we'll insert, let's say quantity, and let's say the quantity is maybe 400. Again, this is a n number, and then we have is price. So let's say the price is $150, so we add 150, and these are all, let's say we want to insert. If you want to insert more columns, you can, and then we can just say let item put item input item map as our map that we just added this one, and then we'll say with this we want to provide the table name as, let's say string from product as our table name, and then again everything is default. We don't want to add any conditions or anything on insert. And then we can just go ahead and do print ln client dot put, and then pass our item await. So let's go ahead and test this operation and see how does it work. Again, back to our terminal. Okay, so meaning our item has been inserted. Now let's go ahead and try to get it and see if we can what we just inserted. So what we'll do is we'll just keep id for get, but we'll remove all other things from the map because insert is already done, so we don't need this. And we'll just say get item input, and here we have to pass key as the map, and get up item input, the table name is this, and everything else is default. Let's go ahead and test it. And here we pass the item to the terminal and cargo run. Okay, there you go. So as you guys can see, we have our quantity as sum 400. Similarly, we have our name as Nike 101, which you can see here. Similarly, we have our price as $150. So all the columns that you add and the values, everything is here. And let's go ahead and try to update it. So now what we'll say is, first of all, we need this map, then we need another one to tell what we want to change. So update map hash map. And even in update there is an interesting concept, so let's learn that as well. So in update, let's say I want to update the name, and I want to update the name, so I have to pass attribute value update instead of attribute value. And here if we see what are the fields that we have, there are two fields: action, like what update action you want to perform, either you want to delete, update, or add. So let's say we want to put, basically, so we'll just say put, which is update dot toString. And similarly, what value you want to update with. So let's say in the value we can just say sum, and now here we'll say attribute value, so s and sum brand new Nike 101 XYZ ABC, maybe, I don't know, and toString. And here everything else we want to provide is default dot default. So we have this, and update map. So now what we will do is we'll go ahead and first we'll update, and then we'll try to get. So we'll say print, actually let's use the same print. So we'll say update item, and we pass the update item in a second. So we'll say let be item update item input, and here we have to provide attribute update, which is sum of our update map. Conditional expression, we don't want to operator, we don't want to expect it, nothing in the key. We will add our map, which just has the key of where to update, and then this we can remove. Similarly, here we can just add the product table and remove, and we can just say default. So let's pass the up item, and let's go ahead and run this. Open our terminal, we do cargo run. Okay, so update is done. Now let's go ahead and try to get this. So we can just do this, and we can remove this, we can remove this, and we can remove, no, let's keep this, and we'll just pass our item, and here we'll say get by id. Let's see if our update is successful. Okay, so as you can see, previously the name was Nike 101, and now it's brand new Nike 101 XYZ. So what will last operation we'll try to do is delete our item. So we'll just comment this, and what we'll do is let delete item, and here we will just say delete item input, and again lots of fields, but we just want to use key and table name. Everything else is default. So key, again pass our map, and here product, our table name. So let's go ahead and perform the delete. So we'll just say delete item. Let's see. Go ahead and simply run this. Okay, delete successful, and let's, for the final time, we try to get after we delete. And item, everything else remains as it is. Okay, as you can see, it prints none. The item is gone, it's deleted. So guys, that's how you can interact with DynamoDB. Again, if you are using the cloud instance, only changes here. If you want to pass your credentials, then you can use actually this will be new here in the DB store. You can use new with here you can pass your credentials, your request dispatcher, and then there is new with client, which you can also use. So you can experiment with it, you can perform all the operations as I did. Again, use your Docker to test, it's better as you don't have to pay anything. That's it for this video, guys. I hope you guys learned something new, understood something. If you do, like the video, share with your friends, subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you.